What is up, everybody? Solomon here. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. I've got a lot to get through. I haven't done a video in a couple of days. Trying to do these more consistently now, as you guys know. But we have some really interesting connections that came out of the Genfinity Twitter space yesterday, potentially between Hedera, HASHGRAPH, and Ripple, tokenization of real estate running through DLA Piper, the Toko platform, LoanSnap, and this home platform as well. And I found an interesting patent. I'm not sure if I've done this one before or not. But yeah, tons of information as usual, so I'm going to hop right in. First and foremost, found this a couple of days ago. This is multi-robot rapid target searching method based on blockchain common cognition. This is an application filed by the National University of Defense Technology, publicized November 11th, 2022. You're not aware, the National University of Defense Technology out of China, their parent institution is the Central Military Commission. Central Military Commission is the highest national defense organization in the People's Republic of China. There's a lot in here about HashGraph, and you know, I don't want to get too much into the weeds with this. You guys can find some of this. I mean, 249 hits. Got a bunch of swirled stuff in here as well. But yeah, when you find this type of stuff, it's always pretty interesting. Multi-robot rapid target searching method based on blockchain common cognition. Invention relates to the field of target searching of multiple robots, in particular to a method of rapidly searching effective targets by multiple robots under the conditions that the distribution of the multiple robots is relatively dispersed. The self-computing resources and communications are limited, and even interference of malicious robots exists. Show you some of the images within here. Obviously, it's in Chinese, but you can see HashGraph in there as well. Looks like drone aspects. Pretty crazy stuff. All right, real quick, we'll get into some of the kind of just central banking aspects that have came out recently. This is Bank for International Settlements and Bank of Canada. Starting to take papers and calls to action around submissions for concrete applications in policy and research. You can see granular information covering businesses, households, financial markets, labor markets, climate change analysis, crypto and digital currencies. You've also got the Bank of Italy, Central Bank of Italy, doing a big document about getting through crypto winter, basically. And I did find, you know, I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's 40 pages, obviously. But in the final remarks here, you know, this is another kind of interesting sentence to share with, you know, friends and family. Whereas the interest of retail customers seems very often driven by speculative intentions, we have witnessed how some crypto assets might be perceived as an alternative asset class, or even as a store of value in difficult times. In spite of the intrinsic fragilities and weaknesses of this novel market, financial intermediaries and policymakers alike are keen on assessing the potential of its technological underpinnings, with a view to, quote-unquote, rewiring financial services and delivering more efficient and transparent financial markets. They're 100% going to be leveraging this technology. They're 100% going to be leveraging some of the digital assets or some of the digital asset networks that we're dealing with right now. You know, when I interviewed Paolo Tasca, obviously co-founder of Quant, sits on the coin committee at Hedera, head of the DLT Science Foundation now, like a month ago. One of the things he mentioned was really interesting, where it's like these banks don't have like gigantic, you know, developer shops. You know, banks historically have not been the most innovative organizations in the financial markets, right? And so where are they going? They're going towards the technology providers, certainly, whether it be the integrators, like things like Accenture and for payments and things like that, or whether it be to the DLT companies themselves. So it will be very interesting to watch how all this pans out. Also, this came out in May of 2023, but I did want to mention this because I've never seen it. This is the Central Bank of Kenya talking about Project Tourbillon. Update on key central bank digital currency developments. If you're not aware, Project Tourbillon obviously is David Shum, aspects of the XX network and eCash 2.0. Tourbillon, a new project launched in November 2022 by the Bank of International Settlements. Innovation Hub explores how to improve cyber resiliency, scalability, and privacy in a prototype CBDC. Several banks have identified cyber resiliency, scalability, and privacy of core features of CBDCs. Designing them involves complex trade-offs between the three elements. For example, higher resiliency against cyber attacks requires additional cryptography, etc., etc., etc. Supposed to be achieving results by mid-2023. I have not seen those come out yet, but we are right in the bucket here of mid-2023. Also, International Monetary Fund puts out a document, I think this came out yesterday or today, about taxation within cryptocurrencies. Obviously dealing out risks within this as well. Talking about more of a global taxation framework, certainly for central bank digital currencies and things like that. Very, very dry, obviously, as well. Found this, which is really interesting. This is, again, Hedera aspects. This is the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. They're directly in here under recent updates, talking about some recent proposals. And a lot of the recent proposals directly tying in Hedera HASHGRAPH, Hbar aspects as well. Combining the use, and now I should preface this by stating that this is for essentially carbon dioxide removal. It's like the Green Initiative type stuff. But this, again, is coming directly from the United Nations. This isn't, there's always a disclaimer in here saying, even though something is new and it's being proposed, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come to fruition. So take it with a grain of salt, but it's in here, and this just came out, I think, yesterday or the day before as well. Combining the use of a professional digital tool for monitoring with satellite images can help the project developers avoid the high costs that should be allocated to DOEs. The verification events can also take place, but they will be less expensive and less detailed, as the digital tool can simplify and shorten the process of verification. And it's referencing Hbar within that. All methodologies eligible under the mechanism should require use of best available distributed ledger technology enabled DMRV, including transparent, auditable field measures in combination with remote sensing, Internet of Things, and satellite data with audit trails linked to decentralized identifiers for corresponding actors that issue verifiable credentials and verifiable presentations linked to tokenized climate assets, interoperable cross-climate account systems. That's Hbar number 2. Number 3, I believe this is the supervisory board, should require that CDR, carbon, again, CDR is carbon dioxide removal strategies, should require that carbon dioxide removal methodologies newly developed for the article mechanism be digitally native, undertake to digitize in a reasonable time or purposes all existing libraries of analog methodologies in use or owned by the UNFCCC, so the United Nations, whatever I said before, who's the author of this. And it talks about, along with the guidance on any/all upgrades necessary to align with mechanism requirements. So this is, again, referencing Hbar. Just so you guys know, this is actually Hbar. This is the Hbar Foundation. This is their response, November 10th, 2022, submission date, the response for the UNFCCC here. And this document just came out a day or two ago. Again, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So I found that pretty interesting as well. If you pay attention to what they're kind of doing here within this, a quick video here.
Oh, please.
And one flagship initiative, which is blockchain technology based, is Digital Art for Climate. We are going to launch it in August, the COP28 edition of this art competition, and then these artworks are turned into NFTs, into digital assets, which people can collect, and it can be also used for innovative resource mobilization.
So again, you've got the United Nations Climate Change Coalition and Conference essentially talking about digital assets, NFTs. They're talking about edutainment, so education, entertainment, utilizing NFTs as well. You can check out the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. There's tons of hits for Hbar, for proposals and stuff like that in there as well. I do think that this digital art for climate marketplace is going to be running on Unique Network from what I was looking at. So that is not tying in Hedera. It's tying in actually Polkadot as well. So check out Unique Network if you're interested in that. All right, I want to play this for just a second here because this ties together Hedera, HashGraph, and Ripple directly. Huge shout out to Mickey B. Fresh. If you don't know who Mickey is, he does tons of great research and work around the XRPL ecosystem as well as Flare and Songbird. I'm going to play this briefly. This is from our space yesterday, which was a little bit of a polarizing space, I guess, there at the end. Interesting, though, that people tend to focus more on the polarizing aspects rather than the connection aspects, and this was a huge connection made by Mickey. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into this connection in a second here.
How you doing, Darren? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's definitely very exciting times with the Root Network side chain. We got hooks and then the EVM side chain. But before I get into that, I just wanted to point out one thing. When Crypto Eddie mentioned that loan snap, it reminded me of James Wallace from Ripple recently on a CoinDesk interview. He mentioned loan snap during the Hong Kong pilot there that they're doing for the Hong Kong dollar. And that's the DeFi environment they're going to use is LoanSnap with Toko and DLA Piper. So I thought that was pretty
Oh,
interesting.
that's
Wait.
connecting.
Can you, can
I
you,
could play it. Let's see if you could hear it.
because Toko is
It's
100%
Hedera.
Hedera, yeah.
Now Mickey's gonna play for you. I don't want to get a copyright flag from CoinDesk, but essentially James Wallace of Ripple was interviewed. This was probably like 3 weeks ago about CBDC initiatives and then tokenization of real estate. And Mickey plays the audio clip from that as well, so you'll directly hear that.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm going to play it. Hopefully you could hear it through speaker.
Oh, Mickey, coming with the goods.
Monetary Authority. The basic premise of it is tokenizing real estate and then enabling that real estate once tokenized to be able to take a loan against it. So releasing some capital from your property. We have partnering with Fubon Bank, which is a large bank with a big subsidiary in Hong Kong. We have we're working also with Toko and DLA Piper, a legal firm, and then LoanSnap, who provide a sort of DeFi environment. So the idea here is you can put some of your property up for releasing capital. That will get paid to you in the form of a CBDC, and then that CBDC could be spent in other use cases or could be converted back into fiat if you prefer.
So that's pretty ridiculous. I mean, it's pretty. I mean, I did a video maybe 5 or 6 months ago. There was a joint CBDC document that came out between Ripple, Hedera, Lipus Advisors, and I think one other organization. There's definitely some ties there, in my opinion, though. This ties in with this announcement that just came out over the past week. Real World Asset launches mortgage-backed stablecoin on the XRP ledger. Real World Asset Protocol announces the mint of Home, the first mortgage-backed stablecoin on the XRP ledger. Built with the RWA protocol, Home will provide institutions and individuals with access to stability and cash flows offered by mortgages in the United States, the company stated in a press release. All right. Now, James Wallace mentioning that this is coming from, just so you know, Home. Home here is Homecoin Finance, RWA. You've got Carl Jacob, who is pretty much the founder and CEO, and he mentioned LoanSnap as well. LoanSnap is, again, Carl Jacob, so they're tied in together here. And then Toko, if you're not aware, through Hedera. DLA Piper is a governing board member, obviously, number one, a gigantic legal firm. But DLA Piper has integrated the Hedera token service, HTS, into its Toko tokenization platform to enhance the performance, security, and stability of enterprise-grade digital assets. You heard James Wallace from Ripple mentioning, yields divvied out in the form of a CBDC, but tokenization engines and legal aspects happening through DLA Piper and Toko, and the DeFi aspect potentially being explored to run through LoanSnap as well. And LoanSnap, obviously, similar with Home here, mentioning this real-world asset protocol, mortgage-backed stablecoin on the XRP ledger. Really interesting stuff going on, in my opinion. Last but not least, 7 hours ago, this came out. UK banks keen to explore national platform for tokenized securities. And, last but not least, I saw Gilbert Verdian mentioning, the market cap of total crypto assets in 2018 being around 800 billion, and then in 2021 being around 3 trillion. But estimates for tokenization by 2027 lead us to like 28 or 30 trillion or whatever crazy high numbers those are. So we're starting to see rumblings across the board here. I really find the Hedera Ripple semi-tie-ins pretty interesting. Again, where there's smoke, there's probably fire, especially whenever you've got James Wallace talking about working directly with DLA Piper and Toko. DLA Piper is a governing board member of Hedera. Toko uses HTS for tokenization, and it's a subsidiary of DLA Piper. And then you've got LoanSnap, which their home coin, that is a mortgage-backed stablecoin essentially on the XRPL now. So Really interesting stuff along with the patent stuff. Hope I didn't ramble too long here. Again, I'm going to try to do as many of these videos as I possibly can for you guys moving forward like I used to. So I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Thanks. Bye.